My gosh, do I have an interesting one for you guys today. How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the Stinger GT from 2019. Today, thanks to my lovely friends here at Motorland in Beckenham, do check them out if you're interested in buying this car or any of their crazy stock they've got in there. And honestly, I've not been here for like a month and some of the stock is insane. M4 Comp, M6, Cali T, M2 in the back, M4, My Polo, Julia Quad. Mate, honestly, these guys are doing some serious stuff right now. But most seriously is this Stinger GT. I can't believe it. Finally, I get a chance to drive what has been heralded as one of the best value for money Grand Tourers you can get on the market. It's a bit windy out, so let's jump inside what is a genuinely lovely interior. Kia aren't really known for performance cars. This is one of the first ones we've ever seen on the market, and genuinely in here it is so nice. Brand new, these are around the kind of 40k mark. This one here is up for £25,000 and they generally start at around about the £18,000 mark, which is really good value for money for such a relatively new hot saloon. So today we're going to answer the question, how good really is the Stinger GT? Is it a cheap Grand Tourer, a cheap, fast, hot saloon, obviously with this kind of fastback styling instead? What's it actually like to drive in? Is it good value for money? Let's get straight into it. Now, normally I would be in the car already driving it around at this point in the video, but I wanted to talk you through some important parts about this car. The spec that you get as standard is absolutely unreal. There are a couple of bits that I don't really like these fake bonnet vents. Like, look, they literally have nothing there. It could have been real. But outside of that, the quality on these is really good. Look at the key, for example. So the key here is actually like a nice little leather key. It's proper, it's serious. It's not, I mean, there are Lamborghini keys that aren't as nice as these ones. Also, I thought they were fake, but actually they're real. These are genuinely in place to cool the brakes. So they are brake ducts to cool the brakes. That's air in, and then this is pulling the hot air away from the brakes as well. That's very cool stuff. It's like F1 racing technology on my Kia. Let's not forget also the Brembo brakes front and rear, and then some other nice features like the automatic rear fastback style boot. Goes up automatically, goes down automatically. That is just such a nice extra feature to have. Again, some other features I'm not a huge fan of are the fake exhaust tips and that kind of stuff, but that's pretty par for the course with a lot of cars nowadays. I mean, look at this A7, for example, and look at this C220D, and yeah, I mean, loads of fake exhausts around. When you step inside the car, it really is a lovely place to be. It's not over the top, it's not pretentious, it's not pretending to be anything. It's very simple. I think the screen is maybe a little bit, like the actual screen itself is quite small compared to how big this is, quite bulky. But outside of that, it's a nice place to be. It's not over the top, it doesn't pretend to be something it's not. And when you compare that to BMWs, Audis and Mercedes, you actually get a lot of spec for your money on one of these. So again, big thanks to Motorland. I'm gonna go take this car for a drive now and see what it's actually like. So yes, what have we got here? Well, we've got a 3.3 litre twin turbocharged V6 engine, making 365 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in around 4.7 seconds. That's not bad at all, considering, think about it, like an M2 Comp that they've also got a Motorland is up for about 4.3 seconds to 60. That's not bad performance out of a Kia. Reminder, Kia. I feel that's going to be a key theme in this video. They only come with the 8-speed automatic gearbox, but probably the most interesting thing about them is how well they've held on price considering they are Kias. As I said, 18K is around the minimum you'll find them listed for. They dropped in around 2017, 2018. And I think to lose half their value in that length of time is not the end of the world. And now I think that's come down to two main things. One is the 7-year warranty on them. That means that the earliest examples are only just coming to the end of their warranty life cycle. And two, I think they're just generally pretty good cars. Like, everyone I've met who is a Stinger owner has had nothing but amazing things to say about them. The typical line is, yeah, you know, the badge isn't quite the same as a BMW or an Audi, but actually, like, when I looked at the spec options, the spec on this is just better. They're a little bit different as well on the road. They're not what you expect to see necessarily. And honestly, they serve a great purpose of being a great family car and also giving them a bit of fun on the day-to-day. All that gives it away is this. Whoa. Fair enough. Now, before I get into driving this car in anger, I really need to get into one major thing, and that is the badge. Now, for me personally, I quite like it when your average everyday car company makes something more interesting, something more sporty. I've always loved Skoda VRSs, for example. I'm a big fan of all of the Hyundai Ns as well. And part of the reason why those cars are typically really nice is that those brands aren't known for that. So when they start doing performance style cars, not that they're sticking to some kind of pre-existing formula, they're not doing something that they've done a million times. They actually make something interesting, new and different. And I think from my limited experience of the Stinger so far, that's kind of what this is. Having driven quite a few Kias, I've always liked that they've been relatively well put together, but this in particular is just another level above. They were able to take it to a different level because it's not what they normally do. Now, sadly, I'm pretty sure the Stinger has just recently been discontinued, just simply due to a lack of sales in the home market in particular. And that is the other side of the coin to being a brand that doesn't typically do these kinds of cars. Imagine if tomorrow I started doing videos on planes, right? They're not a million miles away from cars, and I'm sure plenty of you guys watching this video also like planes. But you don't come to my YouTube channel to watch videos about planes. You go to a plane-based YouTuber, you go to Planes with JB instead. And it's the same story with stuff like this. I've done this kind of little city route quite a few times now and driven a lot of cars down it, and I've always been impressed with the ones that are kind of a half and half, a car that you can daily drive and then also send, with how good they are at the daily driving part. This one might be the best at the daily driving part that I've driven so far. Because this is a Grand Tour and it needs to give you that kind of GT feel, it wafts along so comfortably. I'm in eco mode right now, I'm not using too much fuel, everything is just nice and simple and sedate and comfortable. I'm hearing nothing from the engine, there's no road noise, there's no wind noise, it is very comfortable in here. It's not a luxury car, fine, it's not a luxury Grand Tourer, fine, but so far, it is very, very nice in here. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Does the Kia badge detract from this car for you? Because if it does, that means you're kind of putting brand before ability here, which is absolutely fine, but it's just interesting how that kind of branding and marketing thing operates around these kinds of cars. Sport Plus, very nice. Let's see how it goes. Not bad at all. Let's drop a window so we can listen to it this time. That's not bad. It's really interesting because it's actually like that initial shunt is very strong, and then after that initial shunt it almost peters out, but it doesn't peter out because the car's slow, like it's doing numbers, but then it just feels so chilled out. Like, I almost feel like I'm driving a luxury car around and wafting up to pace, if you know what I mean? Like, that's quick out of that corner, and it all comes off of that rear wheel drive, and it's pushing me along. Like, I can feel it in my back. The sound, I'll be real with you, for a V6, could be a lot nicer. Part of the game when you go for slightly newer cars, obviously they don't always have the nicest sounding engines on them or nice sounding exhaust. It's all muted. It's very wafty, like it wafts around the roads very nicely, very comfortably. It's definitely a Grand Tourer more than it is. I don't really want to have it in Sport Plus mode as I've got it in right now. I think I'd rather leave it in comfort and let it kind of waft around these roads instead. I feel like I've taken it to the wrong place. We're out here on some more country lane kind of vibes, and that's fine, but I don't think this is what it's supposed to do at all. I think it's supposed to be reasonable here, and it's supposed to be reasonable on an A road, and it's supposed to be reasonable in a mountain road, and it's supposed to be reasonable all over the place because it's supposed to be taken on a long Grand Tour. I have to make one complaint though, one serious complaint. The brakes are not good enough for the pace. I know it's got these nice Brembos on it, but I was surprised at how little the car wanted to slow down. Like, okay, maybe it's just, the pedal's long, that's what it is. It's fine, the pedal's just quite long. It is very interesting because it is fast, but look at how chilled out I feel whilst I'm driving it. Like, it gets up to speed very quick. For a Kia, insanely quick. So like, again, watch this. Plant my foot in seconds. Back wheels slid a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it just gets up to speed. It's a little bit wobbly when it gets to the higher speeds, like a little bit What I haven't quite yet found though is the kind of the passion bit. Right, like it's nice, it's comfortable, it's usable. As a Grand Tourer, it would be amazing on a trip around Europe. I'm not sure I've driven a better car from like the getting from nice road to nice road vibes. If I had to summarize this car from the kind of fast roads I've done so far, it's a sensible man's Grand Tourer. Like, it's relatively cheap to buy compared to other Grand Tourers of a similar level of quality, etc. This is the kind of car that reminds you that, no, I'm a serious guy now. Life is different. I don't need the back to be stepping out on me the whole time. So touch understeer is a bit of body roll, that kind of stuff when you're coming to some of these corners. And that's probably just down to the weight and that kind of stuff. It's not as planted as a lot of other cars. Maybe here's a difference, right? If I was to take this car on a tour of Europe, it'd be better than anything else I've reviewed from Motorland so far, almost certainly. The difference is, I would love to drive this to the Nürburgring. I wouldn't want to drive it around the Nürburgring. You could take it around the ring and you'd have a good time and you could cruise around and blast it on the straights and blah, 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 blah. But the handling just isn't quite there from like that planted perspective. Look at how chilled out I am and it's going. Yeah, it's properly going, but I do feel like I'm managing. I don't feel like the car wants to work with me. I feel like I'm managing a little bit in those kinds of scenarios. It would absolutely do the job. It is really good for Kia's first stab at this kind of grand touring vibe. But I'm going to turn it out of Sport Plus mode, sorry, and put it back into Eco. And cruise along like this instead. That is much more like it. This is plenty good enough. It's dynamic enough, it's comfortable enough, it's doing all the right things, it's keeping me calm, friendly, and I feel like I want 4 more people in here to chat to. Excited about the next place that we're going to arrive on our journey around Europe. The 8-speed gearbox works a lot better in my head so far in auto mode than it does with the paddles as I've been using it in Sport Plus mode. Cruising along at these kinds of speeds, just enjoying the roads, letting life come to me nice and slowly. Really, really nice. Really impressed by the level of comfort, the level of quality around me. But most importantly, in all of that time of sending the car fast and enjoying it at speed and then putting it back into slow and then cruising along at these kinds of speeds again, not once have I considered the fact that it's a Kia. And I think that's a real testament to the fact that Kia have done a great job with this. I can understand why it's got such a cult following amongst its owners. Yeah, proper wafty cruiser, this car. Big fan of it for those kinds of purposes, 100%. And I think I'm just going to leave it there and enjoy the rest of my very chilled out and comfortable drive home. I don't feel like I need to send it. I feel like I can just enjoy it for the grand tour that it is. Thank you very much again to Motorland for letting me drive the car today. I really appreciate it. Do go check them out if you want to buy this one in particular. It's a great example, 30,000 miles on the clock. And as I said, their current stock is insane. The car I'm about to drive in a second is unreal. So yeah, be ready for that video and go check them out. 77% of you who are watching this video right now are not subscribed, so do hit the subscribe button for 2 videos every single week and plenty more car reviews to come. And if you enjoyed this video, do hit the like button. I would really appreciate it. Huge thanks to you guys for watching, to the patrons for their support. And if you want to see a video of me reviewing another very lovely car that I think you might like instead, click on screen right now. See you in a bit.